apologies in advance for the terrible audio quality, but let's get started.
Is it just another single or to play a game? And what's it kind for you? Would you like to spend 3 lines with me? Or would you like to join me through my life?
So I was watching this video by a YouTuber called Everyday Nerdiness, and she was basically talking about the authors that she's found most inspirational, and that really got me thinking about which authors do I find most inspirational. So that's what I'm going to be talking about in this video today. I suppose my favourite author is an author that I've not been reading for too long. He's called Albert Camus, and he's written quite a few books. He was considered one of the fathers of existentialism, and he was a French author. And I mean, I really like his writing style and his thoughts. His books are very interesting. They make you think, and that's really good, because I like thought-provoking books. Now, I think what I find most inspirational about Camus is he was sort of during Nazi occupation in France. Camus was sort of the leader of the resistance. He was the publisher and editor of a underground newspaper called Combat, and he was basically the sort of intellectual hero for France. There was a quote that every morning the French would look to Camus for their daily thoughts. You know, he was just this sort of big charismatic leader of the intellectual resistance, and I just think that's really inspiring, because he used his words and his thoughts and his mind to bring hope and certainty to these people who are obviously oppressed by Nazis, which isn't very enjoyable. Now, another great thing about Camus is he was a very good friend of quite a few more heroes of mine, particularly Jean-Paul Sartre, who is another existentialist author, and I think he's a wonderful person as well. And I would sort of love to have lived at that time in France, because there was all these intellectuals, just all these wonderful thoughts and books and everything just coming out of this sort of depression. This really bad atmosphere created some of the best modern literature we've ever had. I mean, it's just incredible to think of how much was achieved in just that small time, because, you know, they sort of went back against the Germans. They said, you can oppress us, but you can't take our minds. And I just think that's a really, really inspirational thing. Now, unfortunately, Camus died in a car crash when he was still relatively young, but there's plenty of his books out there, and I really, really would recommend that you read them. I mean, there's The Outsider, there's The Plague, The Fall, The Myth of Sisyphus, The Rebel. You know, there's tons and tons of stuff out there, and I don't think you'd be disappointed by reading it, because he puts his ideas across in a very simple way, but they're very complex ideas, which I think is a very difficult thing to manage. I mean, he's not one of those writers that deliberately labours over a point for no apparent reason just to get more pages in the book. He's quite short and to the point, and he gets it just there, and I think that's really good. So, I mean, if you can, go read a book by Albert Camus, because I would love to hear what you thought of it. And other than that, there's just one more thing I want to talk about. I mean, I'm a fairly new nerd fighter. I only started watching the Vlog Brothers about 2 months ago, and I've started to become very active on the Ning, and you know, it's really good. And last night I found my favourite nerd fighter place ever. It's called Skype. There's a chat room. I've met some of the most incredible people on it already. I mean, I just love nerd fighters. And one thing I want you guys to do is, there is a thread that I've made on the Ning called A Love Letter to the Nerd Fighters, and I want you all to go in that thread on the Ning, whether you're part of this group or a viewer or anything. I want you to go in that thread on the Ning. The link is in the sidebar, and I want you to write a love letter to your fellow nerd fighters, because I think that would be a very nice thing to do. So if you could do that for me, I'd be very grateful. And other than that, I think that's the end of the video. So DFTBA, and stay groovy.